Ally in Central America may, important word, may have a tighter relationship with criminal gangs in his country than he likes to let on. New reporting coming to us from Pro-Publica finds Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele's top aides blocked the extraditions of MS-13 leaders to the United States. That's because, this reporting suggests, those allies of Bukele allegedly believe those gang members, those MS-13 gang members, could be witnesses in a long-running U.S. investigation into Bukele himself. Senior reporter at Pro-Publica, Sebastian Rotella, joins me now. He's one of the authors of that piece. Sebastian, great to have you with us. Thanks for joining us. Walk my audience through the broad contours of what your investigation found and its implications for Bukele's public image and what might be true behind that image.
Thanks, Major. It's a pleasure. This story really goes back to 2019, when in the first Trump administration, and he creates a Joint Task Force Vulcan, which is an agile and very effective federal law enforcement task force that's tasked with going after this gang in a systematic way and going after its top leadership and really eradicating MS-13. And they set out to do just that. And one of the major elements of this strategy is to build a case for racketeering, terrorism, other strong charges against the leadership of this gang, which is running it mainly from prisons in El Salvador, and extradite that leadership to the United States and to try them in the U.S., a strategy that has worked in places like Mexico and Colombia against really powerful criminal groups. But what we found was that as the investigation advanced, it found evidence of negotiations, which had been an ongoing thing in El Salvador with previous governments as well, between senior officials in the Bukele government and the gang, secret deals being cut in negotiations in prison, really in exchange where the gang would agree to reduce homicide rates and use its extraordinary power to deliver votes to the Bukele's party in exchange for political favors, financial benefits, and protection from extradition. So this investigation that begins as an investigation of this gang expands into an investigation of corruption related to this deal at the high levels of the Bukele government. And one of the things it starts looking at is the potential diversion of U.S. aid money, which is very generous in El Salvador, as part of these deals to the gang. So what starts as an investigation of a gang becomes a public corruption investigation. And the government of Bukele allegedly reacts to that in 2021 by replacing the attorney general and justices in the Supreme Court by retaliating against Salvadoran officials who had been assisting this corruption investigation, and systematically begins working behind the scenes to block the extraditions of these key leaders for fear, people allege, that they could testify in U.S. courts about these deals between the gang and the Bukele government. So it becomes a very dramatic sort of clash between the politics of the situation, this attempt to bring down this gang.
Sebastian, two questions. First, how did you get to this information? What are your underlying source materials to the degree you can describe them? And what attitude, if any, does the current Trump Justice Department have about what you have uncovered and what you've discovered in frustrating a criminal investigation set in motion in the first Trump administration?
Well, that's one of the things that's very striking. I mean, the story speaks for itself. We have people speaking on the record. There are indictments in which some of this is laid out in terms of the allegations about the negotiations. And obviously, the priorities have changed. I mean, what's happened in the second Trump administration from the beginning, as you know, is that the priority has been on working with President Bukele's government to send Venezuelan and some Salvadoran deportees to be held in the mega prison in El Salvador. So the people we talked to, and they're quoted in the article, expressed great frustration that this case they had been building to get these Salvadoran gang chiefs and to, pursue these allegations of high-level officials in El Salvador colluding with them, that has really been, diluted, weakened, set aside in favor of the new priority, which is working with the Bukele government on the deportation program.
So just to put a very fine point on your reporting at Pro-Publica, Sebastian, we're at a stage where an advanced investigation is nearing the point where it could extradite and bring real charges that could be long-term harmful to MS-13. And because of what you found in these negotiations and side deals, that's not or unlikely to happen.
That appears to be the case. I mean, all the extraditions that the U.S. requested of the top gang leaders have not happened. And more dramatically, at least one of them has been sent back in this recent wave of deportation, someone whom this task force had worked very hard to get. So certainly Bukele has cracked down very hard on this gang and put many people in prison and transformed El Salvador in terms of questions of safety. But these questions remain about the leadership and what could have been learned if this case had been pursued to its full extent in the direction in which it was going.
What could have been learned. Pro-Publica's Sebastian Rotella, I appreciate you coming in. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.